Hello, I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Barry Berg.
Welcome to Setting the Standard, Conversations with the Berg Larsen Group, a podcast where we discuss questions that are top of mind for upper bracket home buyers and sellers in the Twin Cities metro. Welcome back for episode 6, our last episode in our podcast series for spring. This is Players on the Field, inside baseball for real estate.
And I think baseball is a good analogy in many senses for what we do and our role, because we will be the coach, will be very pivotal in helping you identify and move through the process of buying a home. But we rely on a variety of other players.
Yeah, we're not the only one on the field.
Absolutely,
right? As we like to say.
No.
So yeah, we as the manager, right? But there are a supporting cast of other players throughout the whole process, right? So from our team, from our company team, right? From the broker side, but also title companies, lenders. You have real estate attorneys, which come in handy every once in a while. So it's more than just the agent, it's more than just the buyer, and more than just the lender, and it goes beyond that too.
Well, and in the process of buying a home, you'll find that we're strong believers in inspections on any property you purchase. And so, that isn't just a matter of a general inspection on a property. It may be a matter of bringing in some specialists to look at a variety of issues, from sewer lines to roofs to any variety of matters. So just understand that when you work with us, we do have a stable of good, solid, steady players that we are likely to call on your behalf.
Yeah, I think the whole industry as a whole, right? I think that's what's the good part about the real estate industry. Many have been doing it for years, and so rely on your agent and tap into their stable.
We can think of so many situations where buyers might not have anticipated the need for a specialist of one sort or another. I think years ago of a wonderful buyer I had who had recently come out of a divorce situation and was just so anxious to buy that she chose not to do an inspection on a property. We were buying property from someone who was from a different culture and was in the habit of painting over signs of a leaking roof, which came to light within a couple weeks of closing. And I had strongly encouraged doing an inspection, but she was just so anxious to be able to move on with her life that didn't do so, and we had a serious issue with a roof that definitely needed replacing.
Good thing it got it resolved.
Yeah, we got it resolved. But I think of other situations. We had a classic situation years ago with a seller who had bought a property a few years earlier, and it was a property that we had sold at various times, but the prior owners, unbeknownst to us and seemingly unbeknownst to the seller, had added a pool to the yard. A large, we'll say roughly 1 acre wooded property. It turned out that pool encroached on the neighbor's property. And the sellers had never met their neighbor. Fortunately, we knew the neighbor, and we were able to take care of what could have been a very critical issue, where the neighbor initially was sending signals he wanted that pool removed. We were able to, in fact, deal with it in a different manner, and the pool didn't have to be removed.
And since we can't give real estate we can't give legal advice or tax advice, that's where we called on our real estate attorney friends in the community to help in this particular situation.
Absolutely.
And I think to your point, right, that getting it resolved amicably, creating an easement, was ultimately a great solution for all parties. But to that end, you want that deep bench to work for you.
Absolutely do, because you never know. I mean, you don't expect in most situations issues like that to arise, but nonetheless they can and they will. I mean, I think for that same reason, we've had buyers who fall in love with properties, and and then an inspection is done and discovered serious moisture intrusion or mold or rotting windows, all the kinds of things. These are not the kinds of things that they were looking to take on.
Yeah, but I think from that perspective too, right? You from the buyer's perspective, they're not looking for these. The seller certainly, and it's not to say that the sellers knew about it either. But the good news is, like the encroachment issue, like some of the others, they can be managed.
Absolutely.
And I think in the end, the goal is get to a successful transaction where the seller can sell their home, the buyer can buy the home. They still really want it, right? It's going to be a perfect house for them, but for a particular issue. So it's drawing on contractors, inspectors, all those trades that know how to help you get to the home you want to buy or the home you want to sell.
Right. And to a certain extent, even though we began this segment talking about the role of our role with helping buyers buy property, it's just as relevant with sellers, as we're acknowledging here.
Yeah. So the value of the network is important, and realtors have that network available to you as clients, and so rely on them. So hey, I think this was we're at episode 6. It's our perennial wisdoms, and so thanks for tuning in this season for our spring markets series, and we'll perhaps see you next time. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.